When we think of pollution, we think of cars, oil refineries, and greenhouse gas emissions. Sometimes we turn a blind eye to the elephant standing right in the room. That elephant is the ocean plastic crisis. The ocean is suffocating with plastic. An estimated 8 million tons of plastic end up in our oceans annually, and this number is increasing as the use of plastics continues to increase. In monetary terms, plastic does $13 billion in harm to marine biological systems yearly. The exponential growth of this problem has many scientists estimating that there will be more plastic in the ocean than there are fish by the year 2050. This problem has been around for many decades, but has become drastically worse in the 21st century, and it costs both the Earth and it costs us cash. If you think about it, the relationship humans have with plastic is mutually supportive. Plastic is socially accepted, we support it on an economic level, and it in turn makes our lives much more convenient in many ways. As an example, plastic has made packaging much more efficient and effective and a safer alternative to glass or stone. It also contributes to resource efficiency, since the lightweight property of plastic allows for lower energy use for transporting goods. Plastic also tackles the problem of food waste in our world by significantly increasing the shelf life of many foods. With economies of scale, plastic costs less and less to manufacture on an industrial level, and various diverse commodities can be produced from it. As you can see, there are so many benefits of this wicked problem. To make matters worse, much of the plastics entering the ocean are microplastics. These are microscopic pieces of plastic that resulted from the breakdown and decomposing of regular consumer products and general plastic waste. Not only do these plastics impact the lives of marine animals by making them sick and eventually resulting in their death, but they are indirectly linked to the health of humans. Once fish consume them, they stay in the food chain forever. The marine food chain is so well linked that these plastics can and do find their ways to humans. When consumed by humans, these plastics contain carcinogens and toxic chemicals known as BPAs, which have been linked to disruptions in the endocrine as well as reproductive systems. Plastic as a problem has no fixed set of solutions, and it is so wicked because the awareness of this problem has existed for a long time, yet it continues to grow bigger and bigger. Like all animals, the problem of plastic tries to survive, and it has many sources of food that allow it to stay alive. Firstly, the consumers continue to support it due to its convenient properties, which perpetuates its existence. Plastic is an economical behemoth in that it is a huge industry. It is estimated that by the year 2020, plastic will be a $1.2 trillion industry. Another source of food that helps plastic as an animal to continue to grow and evolve are waste management and recycling companies. Socioeconomically speaking, if we suddenly eradicated all plastic from the world, many stakeholders such as companies and their employees, as well as investors, will be directly affected. As dangerous as this problem is, it is also safe. Plastic has made packaging like food containers and drinking cups much safer. As you can see, plastic as a problem has many benefits and sources of food that help it evolve as an animal. The world absolutely thrives and relies on this problem, and there is no one single approach or angle of approach to socially intervene and ultimately solve it. The average person in society tends to do things in ways that are familiar or have been done or tried before and are ultimately obvious. When it comes to addressing issues, this type of behavior has been passed through generations and generations because it is the least foreign to our understanding, and in most cases it bears less risk than exploratory behaviors. Approaches that think outside the box, or which question the status quo, will always come with risks and hurdles to climb. In terms of fighting the plastic crisis, those hurdles, whether economic, social, or environmental, are for the most part well known and have well-known processes in getting over them. Unless you're somebody who lives in a completely remote, completely industry and civilization-free environment, you most likely play a role in plastic pollution. The same goes for almost every single business that exists. Therefore, in today's plastic polluted world, going green is a trend, and people and businesses are known to follow trends. Many nations and businesses are starting to attack this problem with the stick approach. The overall goal is to replace single-use plastics with reusable plastics that don't break down into toxic microplastics. Peru's environmental minister announced this year that visitors can no longer carry single-use plastics into natural and culturally protected areas. The government also passed a law to phase out single-use plastic bags across the country over the next 3 years. Washington, D.C. will start to ban the use of plastic straws across restaurants and businesses with fines for those who don't comply. An entity as large as the European Union Parliament approved a single-use plastic ban to begin enforcement as early as 2021, which of course, based on precedents for any other past bans, comes with a fine or some kind of penalty. This conventional approach of enforcing the reduction of single-use plastics is a simple concept as it attacks the problem straight on, but it's not marvelous by any means. Some advantages of this conventional stick approach include the reduction of litter and environmental waste, which means less affected marine life and cleaner shorelines. Banning plastic bags will also reduce littering, thus allowing for better use of tax money in further addressing ocean plastics. It can also create a ripple effect for other businesses and governments to follow, allowing for a stronger, larger fight against this wicked problem. Some disadvantages of this conventional approach are that businesses would have to factor in the higher manufacturing costs of providing their customers with more reusable bags. There are also potential economic effects. The scaling back of manufacturing, which ultimately could result in employees losing their jobs. The higher costs of reusable bags could affect poorer people and potentially disrupt the lives of the homeless. There are also potential health effects. Reusable bags would need to be cleaned from time to time, and not everybody would be willing to do so. So this could result in bacteria buildup and mold, which could potentially lead to infections. For my social innovation approach, I'm going to discuss bioplastics. Let's face it, plastics are extremely convenient and have changed the way we live, and they will be around for a very long time, if not ever. Bioplastics are plastics that aren't made from petroleum as traditional ones are. They are made from renewable sources found in our environment. Sources of bioplastics include things such as seaweed, cornstarches, sugar ethanol, and other agricultural matter. This makes them a lot more biodegradable than traditional plastics, therefore reducing the overall carbon footprint. Studies suggest that bioplastics will make up 10% of the plastics market in Europe within the next 10 years. The largest use case of bioplastics is mostly packaging, which accounts for 65% of the European bioplastics market. Things such as bags, food containers, and other single-use plastics. However, in the future, it is said that they could be virtually used for all types of plastics. Forward-thinking companies like Full Cycle Bioplastics make a plastic-like material from agricultural byproducts and food waste to substitute many traditionally made plastic products such as chip bags and chocolate bar wrappers. In Indonesia, an innovative company called EvoWare has come up with a solution to substitute traditional single-use salt and pepper pouches as well as tea bags by constructing them from seaweed, which is 100% biodegradable as it can not only be dissolved but also eaten. Coca-Cola Beverage Company has a plant bottle program that makes plastic beverage bottles that are 30% plant-based. 30% of the plastic in these bottles comes from Brazilian sugar. There are many interesting advantages to this social innovation approach. The degree of global waste will lessen, and less marine life as well as wildlife will be affected. Over time, there will be less carbon emissions as bioplastics don't require as much industrial energy to manufacture. And as technology advances, there will be even more versatile uses for bioplastics. Most biodegradable plastics will have performance traits that are very similar to traditional plastics, which will make mass adoption much easier. Ocean plastic crisis could potentially, in the future, turn from a problem into an opportunity for new industries to emerge and would have economic benefits. As thrilling as bioplastics sound, there are some disadvantages. As all biological things, their shelf life will be limited as they eventually either rot or dissolve. This may not be ideal to businesses wanting to invest in manufacturing them or distributors and retailers stocking them. Bioplastics will need certain climate conditions to cooperate with the disposal process, as temperature and humidity play an important role, and in colder climates, it would make the composting process a lot longer. As with all new technology, it requires a lot of capital, and manufacturing bioplastics currently comes with an increase of up to 50% in costs. Furthermore, the research and development and infrastructure required, such as farmland use for producing bioplastics, will create some barriers of entry in the industry. In conclusion, the problem of ocean plastic will be around for many decades to come. However, if we attack it from many different angles, in the future, it just may subside.